I can pull that fat cat down. I can bring him right off this hill.
Amen, amen.
Do you know that money is made out of my father's flesh?
I've had more than most actors. I have had the opportunity to work in films that transcended their times.
Mom, this is John.
It is my nature to make the kind of film that would make a comment.
I'm pleased to meet you, Mrs. Drayton.
There are great actors and there are important actors. Sidney Poitier was both.
How did I break through? I think I had great good luck on my side, and I also think I came along historically at the right time.
Sidney was raised in the Bahamas, where his father was a tomato farmer.
I left the Bahamas, I left the Caribbean, and I went to New York at the age of 15. And I survived there with no friends, no money, no relations, no one.
Sidney acted in more than 40 films and inspired a generation, especially Oprah Winfrey.
They call me Mr. Tibbs.
They call me Mr. Tibbs.
I want to ask you about Sidney Poitier's importance in Hollywood. And I say that in not just his movies, but his position in Hollywood.
There is no one on earth I love more. There's no one who I have greater respect or regard for.
Sidney was the first black man to win an Academy Award. Lilies of the Field earned him the Oscar for Best Actor, and that night in 1964 impacted a 10-year-old Oprah and countless others forever.
The winner is Sidney Poitier.
I still see the image of him when Anne Bancroft hands him the Academy Award. And I was profoundly, when I tell you profoundly, I could start weeping right now. I was profoundly, deeply, sincerely moved by that moment because I had never seen, we were being called colored people at the time, I had never seen a colored man look like that. And I just thought, if he could do that, I wonder what I could do.
Wow.
And that was at 10 years old. And because he did that, I was able to do what I have been able to do in the world. And every single other black person who followed, it only happened because he was able not just to do that, but to be that.
Can you briefly recall for me how you felt the night you got your award?
It was extraordinary, it was remarkable, it was like, it was great. What can I tell you?
What can I give you in return?
Some of his most memorable roles included playing a high school teacher in working-class London in To Sir with Love and a detective in the Deep South in the Heat of the Night.
What works of his really touch you?
I love Guess Who's Coming to Dinner because the scene in Guess Who's Coming to Dinner where he says,
But you think of yourself as a colored man.
man, and I think of myself as a man, that is who he is.
Sidney was also a mentor to Denzel Washington. When he was a young unknown actor, Denzel met his idol in a bookstore.
I took out my picture and resume.
Did you really?
I sure did. He was like, well, son, I don't think this is the appropriate place.
It's okay, I'm doing it anyway.
I did it anyway, but he didn't take it, but it was cool.
He was young, he was skinny, Denzel was, but there was the flavor of what was to come. I got to know him quite well after that. And, you know, this is one remarkable actor.
The first time I met him at Quincy Jones's house, we had a conversation and I was telling him about how hard it was because I was getting so much criticism from black people who were saying I was hugging white people too much, I wasn't doing enough of this and I should be more of that. And he said, this is what happens when you carry people's dreams. And after that conversation, he agreed to come on the Oprah show. It's the one time in my life where I had a breakdown after the show.
You didn't believe the dogma. You didn't believe what people said was possible for a black man.
Well, from the very beginning, I didn't believe that.
I finished interviewing him, Kevin, and I went into the control room and I laid my head down on the desk in front of the producer and I just bawled. I'm such an idiot. He's gonna hate me. I didn't ask any good questions. He's never gonna speak to me again. You know, it was one of those things where you meet the person you most wanted to meet, and then you felt like you were not good enough. But after that, he gives me a call, and he says he's calling me to apologize because he did not feel that he was his best that day. And after that, we were friends forever.
I don't think the dictionary has sufficient words descriptive enough to really explain, articulate, define Oprah Winfrey. She is a phenomenon.
Sidney told us his happiest times were with his loved ones. He was married twice and had 6 daughters. We were on set of the 1997 movie Free of Eden, where his daughter, also named Sidney, was starting her own acting career.
My daughter has a history, and the history is one in which when Mom and I kind of let her know that we are pleased about something or a direction she's about to take, she changed gears on us and she goes somewhere else. So when she started in this business, we kept our mouths shut.
Sidney also tirelessly worked to champion human rights and equality for all, even helping to finance the civil rights movement. Always striving to improve himself and the world around him, he once said, "I always wanted to be someone better the next day than I was the day before."
There's always room for improvement. At my age, what am I going to do? Die? Certainly I will one day, but until that moment when I am no more, there is room for improvement.